As a child begins to interact with soul issues and recognize temptation, because little kids are tempted, but they don't recognize it as temptation. So as a child begins to awaken to the ideas of the spiritual realm, the ideas of flesh bait, the ideals of demonic voice, and even selfish want, that they become equipped then with truth to be able to handle that. And so one of the things that I think is imperative for, it doesn't matter if you're young or old, as a Christian, to recognize in regards to temptation is it's an opportunity. I know that doesn't make any sense either. Temptation is like terrible, Eric. How could you call it an opportunity? Well, just like if I gave you a pile of manure right now, you could say, excuse me, Eric, but why'd you give me that? I'm giving you an opportunity. See, manure's bad. Temptation's bad. Okay, so that there's a parallel there. But manure, when handled properly, when leveraged, when converted, becomes fertilizer. And the same is true with temptation. Temptation becomes fertilizer, if you will, when it is given the jujitsu move. That's what I always like to call it. Now, I've never done jujitsu, so I'm really speaking out of school here to say I have no idea what I'm talking about. But it's either judo or jujitsu, where it could be both, where you leverage the weight and the height of your opponent against them and actually use it to their harm. And the same is true. The enemy comes in with temptation. You throw your jujitsu move on him, and you leverage his movement against your soul into a positive movement for your soul. So for instance, I remember there was a guy named Scott in Michigan that lived next door to me when I was up there teaching, and I was really struggling in this season with frustration. I was living with my sister, and she was always taking too long to get ready in the morning, and I'm on time. I'm always on time, and so I was always frustrated. And then I would have to seek her forgiveness every day, and I'd have to seek God's forgiveness for giving way to frustration again. So I was tempted, and I kept flailing. This is what most of us know. But I had to learn how to throw the jujitsu move in. And so what I did is, the guy across the way from me, Scott, he didn't know Jesus, didn't believe in Jesus, lived a pretty corrupt life. And so every time I was baited with the temptation to get frustrated, I'd start praying for Scott's salvation. And this guy got hit hard because I was always baited with the temptation to get frustrated. And this is a true story. I'd say in about a month of praying for this guy multiple times every day, he gave his life to Christ. And it taught me a lesson in and through this, is that when I take what the enemy is meaning for evil, I actually can believe God that he wants to turn it for good, and I do that by actually participating in this movement. I call it the jujitsu movement, okay? That's just my term for it. But so say the enemy's trying to hit you in one area. Well, what if you start praying in a different area? What if the enemy hits you in the nose, you hit him below the belt. In other words, it's a tactical maneuver. And it actually gets you excited. It's like, okay, he dishes out manure. I plow it and till it into my soil, and I get better flowers that are coming out. And I tell you what, it works. And so I'm just giving you a tactic I'm going to teach my kids, and that is leverage it against the enemy. Don't let the enemy get away with this nonsense. Turn it on him. Have fun with this. It's a battle tactic is what it is, and it ends up proving the power and the sufficiency of God. He is stronger than the temptation coming against you. Don't just sit there and take it. Play it against him by immediately going to prayer, by immediately turning outward, by immediately doing you fill in the blank. In other words, there's a lot of options that could fill in that blank. If you'd like to take these ideas deeper, join me for an 8-week course on honorable manhood.